Now, this is a technique that I've employed for years in my food forests. And I've done so to the extent of establishing a wonderful citrus orchard right here. Now, I have over 24 citrus trees growing either in the ground or in a 40-gallon container. With the exception, I have about several new citrus trees that are growing in 5-gallon pots currently for research purposes and for, well, some other things I will let you folks know about as the time progresses. That would bring my citrus tree count up to about 28, 29 to be exact. So what is it that I just did? You saw that I placed my watering wand on a specific setting. That setting allowed for a 90-degree angle that came out sort of this way in sort of a V shape. And it's strong, but not strong enough to damage the leaves on my citrus trees. Now you're probably wondering why I have on this protection here. That's because my bees have been very aggressive lately. They can sting me anywhere else, but not my face. Now, the reason why I spray my trees down is because, let me give you a backstory. Many individuals love citrus. In fact, most of them crave citrus every year. But unbeknownst to many individuals, not every state could actually grow citrus simply because of the weather conditions. It's not favorable for most citrus varieties. Could you find some hardy for your zone that can withstand the cold? Maybe, but it's very rare. This is why in colder states, it's better to grow them in containers, bring them out in the spring and summer, and when fall and the first frost come, you take them inside of a covered space and protect them until the following year. Place the entire container on top of a dolly. That way, you don't have to worry about trying to pick this container up because it's going to be very heavy. Now, I have citrus trees inside containers that are literally 18 feet tall. So anyone who doubts that they can't grow a full-size citrus tree in a container, well, I've proved that theory to be wrong. Let me give you some more information. Don't get me wrong, trees grow bigger in the ground. But for many of us, we want to either take our trees from one location to another, or we want to have more citrus trees in our backyard garden. In my case, I wanted to have more trees in my backyard garden. Had I planted them in the ground, I would have less space due to the fact that the trees will grow relatively wide and large. In a container, I can control their growth, both, height-wise and width-wise. But this water that I just sprayed on the citrus trees here, this water is very important. Let me tell you why. It allows me to create a microclimate that's conducive of how citrus trees really like to be grown. You see, most people don't study the environment or the climate in which citrus trees are grown. Let me give you an idea. If you go to the coast of Florida and you understand how citrus trees from that state all the way to Costa Rica and how they grow along the coastal in the sand, the sandy loam soil. Sandy loam soil is very, very favorable when it comes to growing citrus trees. Most of your food, to be exact. I live in Zone 9B, Sacramento, the capital of California. We deal with a lot of heat and fires during the summer months. And what happens is we get the sun that is covered by most of the smoky haze. When that happens, the tree no longer can receive sun or enough beneficial light in order to produce food through a process called photosynthesis. So instead, what it does, it starts to protect itself. You'll start getting brown tips on the ends, yellowing tips. and the leaves will start to fall off because it has no reason to produce leaves. The whole point of a citrus tree producing leaves is so that it could develop the fruit that is on it. If it starts dropping leaves, it's going to eventually drop fruit. And that's not something you want to happen. You worked so hard to get this far. No sun, because not enough of the heat rays, not the heat, because we get plenty of heat, but the rays and all the smoke and ash and whatnot. Well, do you folks really want to go biblically of what it's like to not have the sun? It's harmful not only to plants and animals, but to us humans as well. And scripturally, the Father say in that day, the sun will be blocked out. The moon would not even shine. We need to be very careful. So what do? My tree is literally telling me above ground, not below ground, because it has water. It's telling me above ground it's hot. I'm not getting enough sun, and I'm feeling very what? Humid. Humid. That's the goal. We got to create a humid condition that is going to have some moisture in the air. This is why they grow so well in Florida, along the coast, Costa Rica, Mexico, places like that. So I take my watering wand and I do this once a month. And I make sure twice a month I soil soak, saturate the entire soil. Now this tree obviously is growing in the ground, but you can see this tree is growing in a container. I do a combination of both, whether they're in the ground or container. Don't get me wrong, this is a contained space, but the bottom is open to the ground. Those are in containers, but the bottom is not open to the ground with the exception of draining holes. So I soil drench both areas to make sure I rid the container or the environment from salts or salt buildup from fertilizers. This is very important. I do this twice a month. And then once a month I come by and I take my watering wand and I hit it down. If the temperatures are over 100 degrees, triple numbers for 2 weeks in a row, I normally would come out here twice a month and hit my leaves. I do it in the wee hours of the morning. That means 5 to 6, because in the summer it gets hot fast and you don't want to water your trees when it's very hot outside. Don't do that. Or I wait till in the evening, just an hour before sunset, and I'll get out here and wet my trees. Don't do this with your fruit trees. You can cause disease on your fruit trees, but your citrus trees, they love it. This is what they love. I have proven this to work, and every fruit tree and citrus tree in my backyard edible landscape is not only healthy, but thriving. And they're thriving and living their best life right here in Organic's Best Urban's Garden Edible Landscape. If you haven't heard the truth, well, you've just been given the truth. Every single tree out here, citrus tree, is packed with fruit. This is citrus season. After the figs and the pomegranates are gone and harvested, well, we're left with citrus, evergreens. This is why citrus are my favorite. Don't get me wrong, I love the taste of many stone fruit, but citrus, they're evergreen, they're beautiful, their dark colors are bold, and they stand out. They don't grow as quick as fruit trees, but my greatness, they are beautiful trees. And to be able to grow them here in North America, knowing for a fact that they are not native from here, and as I've talked to you folks before, they are native to Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Australia, but not here. So to have these in my backyard is a privilege, and I'm thankful. All glory and praise goes to the Father. Hallelujah. And he's enabled me over the years to really hone in on a skill set that is going to be needed very soon. Shh. Shh. Listen, urban noise, but I'm sitting in a tropical oasis right in the midst of it. Shh, just listen. Let's see if those chimes will start if we get enough wind.